What's up, creatives, and welcome to another Romeo show. Today we are going to be drawing a man's haircut. Not particularly any man's haircut. We are going to be drawing this picture of Mr. David Beckham. We're not going to be doing all the other details or anything like that. We're just going to be concentrating on drawing his hairstyle. We are. So what we are waiting for, folks? Let's roll intro. Hey everybody, how are we all? Hope we have all had a good week and a good weekend. If you're new to the show, my name is Romeo. I am a sketch and motivational artist uploading how-to videos on a Tuesday and art therapy videos on a Wednesday. I also create designs for my Redbubble store. These are designs for t-shirts, mugs, masks, phone covers, shower curtains, pillows. There's loads of things on there. If you want to check them all out, hit the link in the description below. Not only designs for that, but I also create and published quite a few books onto my Amazon store as well. These range from kids and adults colouring books to notebooks and journals, and recently a sketchbook, a how to draw a mandala book, and also a mental health. It's not just motivational on Mondays mood tracker diary. All of those books you can find links to in the description below. If you want to watch any of the videos, because I talk about those videos in a few of my past videos. If you want to check any of them out, just click the link that's in the that's just up there. So today we are going to be drawing Mr. David Beckham's hairstyle. We're going to be drawing this look that you can see right there. The end result is going to be looking something like this. This is what you will end up with. I'm trying to get it so that the light is not hitting it. So that's what we're going to be ending up with. You can see how it's all looking. We haven't done any of the other facial features. We will do the outline, and it's going to be done in a grid method. We are going to do the outline, but we're going to erase that out after as well. So all we're doing, concentrating on today, is drawing his hairstyle. Just using the one pencil, a mono eraser, blending stump, or a dry brush, and a regular eraser as well. So what we're waiting for, folks, let's roll the video. Rightio. So today, creatives, we are going to be drawing very famous person's hairstyle. Today we are going to be drawing Mr. David Beckham's hair. We're not going to be drawing any of the other features on his face. We're just going to be concentrating on drawing the hair today. So if I just zoom in, you can see that it's got quite a bit of movement in his hair, where it's coming forwards through here. It's just flicking up through these areas through here, and then where the hair is a little bit more shorter on the sides, you can see that it's just coming forwards at an angle here, and then from this part here it's coming down and around the ear and coming back down into the back of the nape of the head, back into the back of the head there. So we're going to just be using the one pencil again. We're going to be using a 4B pencil, a blending stump, and a mono eraser and a regular eraser as well. What we're going to be using is a grid method to be drawing his hair. So we're going to start off with this grid method here. We're doing a 3, even though on this picture here it's a 3 by 5 boxes that we're using, we are only going to be doing a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, because we're only concentrating on the hair, and we are going to add in the shape or the outline of his face and head. But all we're going to be concentrating on is creating the hair texture and the movement in the hair by using the mono eraser and our blending stump and pencil. So first of all, we're going to do is we're going to be creating our grid first. We're going to be using the ruler, and we're going to be doing each box is going to be a 2-inch box, obviously because it's the size of the paper that I'm using as well. It's going to be a 2-inch box by 2-inch box. It is 3 by 4. So we'll just start that now. And boom, just like that, here we have our grid. So like I was saying, it's a 2 inches by 2 inches grid, and we're going by 3 by 4. So that's our grid done now. Now what we're going to do is just start to fill in the outline of his head and the outline of the front of his face here as well. So we can see here that the hairline, it's just going to be a very bold outline that we're doing first, and then we're going to start to soften up the edges with our pencil afterwards. So we can see here now where the hair starts from this point of our grid. So it's starting around about here, and it's coming to about here it is, and then over to here. It's going to come down to around about here, and it comes out slightly, and we're going to come into this point here. It's going to taper in, even though you've got his collar there on the side there, so we're just going to bring that round to about, say, here. But the initial head itself is going to be formed around about, there it is, that's where the back of his head pretty much comes in. But that's where the jacket is, so we're just going to stop that point there, and it's going to come round. Then you've got this point here, which would be his chin area, which is this bit here. So we're just going to mark in his chin. And bring his jawline in. And you can see it just tapers in to this area here. So it's just a little bit of the corner of that box. So we've got that bit there. This bit. Then we're going to do the rest of his mouth area. Do the bottom of his lip. And then bring the top lip in. Now we're going to do, that was the top lip. Now we're going to start with the rest of them with his nose. Comes out slightly. I'm going to bring it back up, and it stops around about there. It does. So we're just going to bring it into there. Then it comes out, and then we can just bring this up for his forehead. It comes in slightly, and then out, and then comes in, and then we've got the rest of his hairline now. And then we start his hairline, which is here. I'm just roughly drawing this in. This is all going to be done in more detail. Comes in through here, through there. Then we do the top of his sideburns area, which is here, and then it comes in, and he starts to form his sideburn. Stops around there. Now we come back up and around around his ear. Top of his ear is about here. And we're just going to roughly just draw his ear in, and it stops about here, it does. And then we've got the rest of his nape area, the rest of the back of his head that forms here. Bring that in, and his neck. We can just put the rest of his neck in here. And the back of the collar of his jacket. His shirt is about here. We never worry too much about that. Now we're going to start with the quiff of this hair. So we're just going to roughly bring that in, and I'm just going to mark the top of the head now, top of the hair. Really roughly bring this in. It's going to come in now, like we were saying, comes in. Back through here, and then comes out, and then meets the rest. So we got the initial hair in now we have. Once we have the hair in, we don't really need any of this now. You can still keep it in if you wish, but it was only there just to get the rough guidelines of the hair. What I'm going to do is erase some of the lines out now from our grid. And we can start working on the hair now. What we're going to do first is with the hair, okay, right, the first thing we're going to do is with the hair, we're going to lightly shade in all of the hair of this surrounding hair here. We're going to give that a light shade in with our pencil, and then we're just going to blend it all through with our blending stump. Okay, so now, even though, as you can see on the picture now as well, I'll just move this one across, so you can see there is a lot of the lighter areas in his hair. We'll go through all those lighter areas with our mono eraser. That will bring up all those highlights, especially through these areas through here as well. But the first thing we're going to do is initially coat all the rest of this area here of his hair in our graphite pencil. So we're just going to start off, here we are, and we're just going to fill in all of this area of his hair with our pencil. Now I'm using the edge and the side of my pencil, as you'll get more coverage of the area that you're drawing or that you're filling in, and it smooths out a lot more easier rather than trying to use the tip of your pencil. When I was first starting to draw, David Beckhams was one of the first characters, was one of the first celebrities that I drew. And if you look on my Instagram feed and you see the picture of him, it was when I was also just starting to learn to do details in hair. So his actual picture, there's a few details in the actual picture itself, but I never drew his eyes because at the time I couldn't draw. I was still practicing to draw eyes. So it's a faceless, eyeless picture of David Beckham. Mind you, though, everyone that looked at the picture, they still recognised him from it, even though the eyes weren't there. But yeah, he was one of my first celebrities that I attempted to draw. So here we have the hair all filled in now. Rather than using the first thing I'm actually going to use is my dry brush to just smooth it out first. Rather than using the blending stump first, I want to use my dry brush first, just to smooth out all that graphite. And making it look that little bit more even all the way through. So with the brush, I'm just smoothing it out, going in circular motions, smoothing out all the graphite pencil. Now initially when drawing this, you would use different grades of pencils, but like I've always said in my tutorials, I just want to use the one pencil. Just to help you guys out, because you guys may just have the one pencil as well. You can use any of my sketchbooks as well. I have a sketchbooks app on Amazon. There's a link in the description. You can follow that link to where the book is, and you can purchase a sketchbook, a Romeo Sketches sketchbook. It's a great little book, doing your drawings in, doing your doodles in, following any of my tutorials that I do. as well as also my mandala book and the my Zentangle. It's not just motivational Mondays mood tracker diary as well. So you want to take your time with sort of blending this through, getting it all nice and even. Blending in as much of your graphite as possible. And once we have done all of this, we'll then start working on the movement of his hair through the quiff area through here, leading on to the shorter bits, so the shorter parts of the hair through these bits here. What we'll work on first is the actual larger pieces that we can see through this top area where the hair is that little bit more longer, and we're going to create the shapes that we see forming through this front area. So we can see that a lot of it is all coming round. It's a little bit coming forwards through here as well, so we're just going to concentrate on those bits first. I'm using very light pencil strokes coming round in a circular motion, and then when you can see it comes forward slightly through there. Don't worry about the little gaps you see through here and the line that you see. That's all going to go once we start using our mono eraser. So we're just bringing that through, bringing it through around here. And then you can see now from the back, it starts to get pushed that little bit more forwards with the strokes now as well. So from about this point here, I'm just going to add a few there. And it's coming that little bit more forwards now. So we're just going to start to angle our pencil lines that little bit more forwards. And then gradually as we come to the crown area through here, it's pretty much laying forwards all the way towards the front. And then you can see here where it just stops, where the part will be, where the separation is between the long hair and the short hair. This area through here, all the hair is coming up, round and up, and it's pretty much coming up directly, vertically from the scalp. So we're going to do the initial the same. These are all just the rough strokes they are, just to get us the idea of where the movement of the hair is, how it's all looking. We'll then go back over these areas with that little bit more detail. Now we're coming round through here. And then through this top area, we've got a few little bits that are coming round, forming that sort of shape. So we've basically got the rough outline of how the hair is looking, how the hair is forming. Before we start adding the darker hair and the lighter bits. So that's the top part of his hair pretty much done. Now we're going to come to the shorter parts of the hair. Like I was saying, it all comes round, forwards through these shorter areas. The little hairline area through here, we can add those smaller bits of hair. Comes down through here. The side area, it's coming back towards the ear. And then down, sideburn area. The shorter parts of the hair coming forwards, this area. And then gradually start to bring it down with small, tiny little lines. That's going to represent the shorter hair. It is a case of having the patience to do this now. And if you want to sort of progress in drawing to photorealism, you have got to realise that you're going to be drawing lots of details, and pretty much I like to work within drawing as much of the detail as possible. So if it means drawing not every hair, but as much of it as possible to give it that realistic feel and look to your image. You can always add a few little lines just coming out, so you haven't got so much of a harsh line for the outline of his hair. And once we've got all these bits in and all our lines are all in, we'll then start filling in all the darker areas and the lighter areas, and start building up on that. Don't ever think that, you know, because you've just started it, it's not looking right. You really have got to sort of carry on working with the picture, adding lots more layers of colour, darker areas, lighter areas. The more you sort of build up on your drawing, the more realistic it will eventually start to look. So here we have the initial outline and look of where the hair is going and forming. This is how I pretty much work with a lot of my drawings. I like to add in all the darker areas, all the lighter areas, all the bits that are going to be the way the hair is forming. Because initially when I started to draw, it was actual hair that I was drawing first, obviously, because I couldn't draw any other details or anything like that. All my drawings at the beginning was just all of just hair and no eyes. So now we have these little bits all in. What I'm going to do is now grab my mono eraser. I'm just going to start to delete or erase out some of these areas through here, just so that we get more of a hair look, and we get rid of that little outline that we put in at the beginning. And it's only just through these little bits here. Get rid of that line. The mono erasers are absolutely brilliant to use, these mono erasers. So good. I've talked about these all the time whenever doing any of my drawings. They are really good to use for when adding highlights, details, getting rid of any little, little markings that you may have, rather than using your normal regular eraser. It's such a cool eraser to use. Not only using one of those mono erasers as well, but also using which I do use quite a bit in the portraits that I do create and draw. I use a kneadable eraser as well. This is a brilliant little eraser to use. Lasts for ages, it does. And basically you can mould this into any sort of shape you want to use to erase out. So if you wanted to make it into like a little point, like a little flat area like that, that can get rid of a lot of little areas as well if you haven't got the mono eraser. But also what I like to do as well is using one of these. If you have like a real dark area that you've done, supposing you've done quite a bit of a dark area, and then you have a lighter area next to it, and you want to pretty much not have that area so dark, what these erasers tend to do is you can then lift a lot of the graphite out from your work without having to use a big eraser, without having to erase it all out. And what it does, it just helps to tone down that darker area that you've just put in as well. So it's really good for when you're wanting to lighten some darker areas where you may have done an area when it was too dark and you just want to lighten it down. Grab your kneadable eraser and then you just dot it onto it, and it just lifts a lot more of that graphite up, just so that it's not so dark anymore. But we're not using that today. So I'm just going to go back onto now the darker areas of our picture. So you can see now all the darker areas are pretty much from where the hairline is, the crown area through here. This is where all the darker bits are going to be, getting towards the lighter areas at the top. So we're going to start off with the front. This bit through here, and we're going to start adding in the darker parts of the root area of his hair. Still following the shape, still, but we're just putting that little bit more pressure on now. And if you noticed, I'm not colouring it in. You will find some people will just sort of start to colour that part in. I tend to still go with using the hair strokes, filling it in as much as I can by doing the strokes rather than just colouring it straight in, because I find that you get that bit more of a realistic feel and approach to your work, and you've not gone too over the top with sitting there shading it all in, because once you start to shade it all in, you're going to lose any movement that you've created in the hair. Even though they're all solid colours, even though they're all solid shapes, I still prefer to just use the stroking sort of technique to get the desired look that I'm looking for. Just going to carry on with this now, moving it all, making it a little bit more darker. Always add in a few little random lines in there as well, just to give it that little bit more movement to it. Because you're always going to have a few stray away hairs as well. There's a few darker ones in there as well. And a few on the tips. You want to try and fill in as much of that darker area as you can. You don't want to be leaving any of the light, you don't want to be making it, filling in with any too many lighter areas or anything like that. And that was where it will come in with our blending stump. That will blend that in. That will fill in a lot more of the lighter areas that we've sort of missed out, but without ruining or getting rid of any of the lines that we have created. So as you can see, I'm just sort of building it up now with a few more darker sort of areas. And then with our blending stump, fill in and smooth out the lines that we have created. That's the beauty of using these blending stumps. You can get thinner ones as well, where the tips are a little bit more thinner. They're good for when you're doing your hair portraits as well. Any sort of eyelashes, very good for that. So we're just marking, blending some more of these bits in. This is why I was saying that I didn't want to sit there colouring all the areas in, because I know that you're going to be using your blending stump and that's going to fill in any areas that you've missed out on. But like I was saying, it's still keeping to the movement of the hair still. And with the blending stump, I'm following the shape of the movements that we have created. And once we've done that top area, we're just going to erase out a few little bits, just add a few more highlights in there now, because there's a few little highlights in there, just in that top area where the light is hitting. You will see your image come to life once you start adding these highlights into your work as well. It's what makes the actual image sort of pop that little bit more. There's a few random ones in there as well, just in the root area. You can always just add a few more. That's what I was saying about sort of just building up on your work. The more you sort of work on it and build up on it, the more you'll see your image come to life. Now we're going to just work on the hairline area. This part here, you can see it's just a few little dotted lines where it just comes down slightly for his hairline, so we're just going to move that down. And just going to put some random short little hairs in there. So obviously we want it to look as natural as possible. Now we're just going to move on to start doing the darker areas that we see through here now. Following the lines that we used earlier, just to add in our darker hairs. And most of the darker bits are just randomly just in the top area. And then obviously where his hair is a little bit more shorter as it gets towards the ear, you're going to find a few more darker bits, but a lot of it is going to be lighter as well, depending on where the hair, where the light is hitting his hair. This is good practice. This is doing this sort of short, choppy haircuts just to get you used to using your pencil. Different darker, lighter areas, gets you used to using that. Get you using your mono eraser as well. And learning about texture of hair as well. Sometimes with it as well, you don't want to do too many straight lines like that. You want to sort of add a few little curly, little wavy little bits like that as well. You don't want it to be concentrated on doing too many straighter lines. Because obviously your hair at the end of the day does have a lot of movement to it. Now the hair's coming pretty much straight down. As you can see, I'm not just doing straight lines. I'm doing like a few curly ones, a few curvy ones in there, just to give it a little bit more movement. What I was saying earlier, here it comes. The hair is sweeping towards the sideburn area, and it's coming back to the top of the ear. It's kind of like I'm doing a tutorial on how to cut hair as well. I don't want to go into too much detail. I think one of my next drawings I'll probably do is a tutorial on how to draw ears. I'm not too keen on that bit. So I'm just going to add a few more darker areas. Thing about doing your drawing to realism, you've got to add a lot of detail and not miss anything out, and not add anything either. If it's not in the picture, there's no point in trying to add, because what happens is when you're drawing to photorealism and you keep looking away, your mind will start to think of what, like supposing if you're drawing an eye or something like that, it will start to draw an eye of what you imagine it to look like, because you've just looked away for a split second. Your subconscious mind will give you the ideas of what an ear or an eye will look like, and it will start to draw that for you, and that's when it starts to go wrong. So always pay a lot of attention to the image that you're drawing, where it all falls, where the hair all falls, the way the eyes are looking. If it's not looking right, go back, erase it out, and do it again, and start it all again. Get into that sort of discipline of not leaving your work, not having that will do idea, push yourself more to create something, and and persist with it, because like, as you can see through here as well, just by building up on the work and on your work, you do get it to look quite realistic. Now we're just going to go through with our mono eraser all the lighter areas. What I'm doing now is just going through what I see earlier, all the lighter bits now I'm just filling in, marking it in with my monitor eraser. And then what I'm going to do is, once I've done this, got all my lighter areas in, I'll then go through it with the blending stump. Just to smooth out any harsher lines and fill in any other gaps. And there we have it, guys. Your finished, completed picture of David Beckham's hair using the grid method. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comments below on how you got on, and I'll see you guys again. And how was that video for you guys? Hope that tutorial went well for you. Let me know in the comments below on how you got on and how you're getting on with any of my other tutorials that I have done. It's great to know, great to see great to hear your feedback on what you have been drawing, and to show me some of your pictures as well. I get quite a few people sending me drawings, Zentangles, mandalas that they have been drawing on my Instagram. If you wish to send me any pictures that you have done, feel free to do so. You can either on my Instagram or on my Facebook, or you can email me at romeo@sketches.co.uk. I'm currently also doing a commission piece for somebody at the moment. The books are open if you are wanting to have a commission done. I draw to photo, as you can see, I draw to photorealism. I can draw your pets, your family members, family with pets. If they're separate pictures, I can create the two pictures together as well. So if that's something that you are interested in, email me at the usual email address, romeo@romeosketches.co.uk. And that's the end of the show, folks. Thank you all again for watching, and if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, click that bell, and turn on notifications so you know when I upload a new video. My name is Romeo. This is Romeo Sketches, signing off. Peace out.